All right, welcome back to Modern Mondays at Guardian Games here in Portland, Oregon. We're Portland Paper. I'm Travis Cooper, hanging out with.
Urchin Collie, here we go. Round two, we are going to see a matchup between Bant Spirits and Goblins. So these are a couple of our 1-0 decks here. Brendan is going to be on Rakdos Goblins, and Nick is on Bant Spirits. Let's see what we got.
I wish I could watch Nick's face when like Brendan goes like turn one Blood Crypt Aether Vial or something.
Yeah, I want to see it. So this is going to be a hard one for me to read. We've got an old school Skirk Prospector here. I think a Fetchland Vial. Oh, I hope it's that new. I saw green in his sideboard. I hope it's that new, the generous guy. Can we pull that up? Do you remember the uncommon one in a green and a red Eldraine?
Oh yes.
I don't remember what it's called. Chat, help
So
me out.
Brendan is playing that card, and there's an infinite combo that he's playing with any kind of sack outlet, and there's a persist goblin. So you've got infinite mana, then you can goblin matron. There's also our old school sack goblin that, if we go back to the pod days, that deals 2 damage, and it's got persist. And yeah, I think there's a couple different combos that Brendan's playing, and he's on the goblin matron, ringleader, more like files go up to 3 and 4, not super aggressive spam the board start, but really kind of a mid-rangey combo
Okay,
version.
I'm super stoked. I haven't seen this. So how many players today? It looks like we are on about 42 players. So that's, I think, is that a little light for our Modern Mondays?
Yeah, I think it's people are maybe. Well, we'll get into it later.
Oh, we'll get into it later, will
Yeah.
we? All right. Hello, PT Gingers. I'm glad you got to make it. You had your own Modern Monday? How'd it go? You let us know. So we're going to see Nick here fetch up an island. Brendan, on your exactly the start you called.
Ah.
Fetch up a Blood Crypt, play an Aether Vial. Nick, I'm maybe a little confused. I don't know. Maybe he's heard all about this. So here's a Mausoleum Wanderer. Not probably terribly effective in this matchup.
Yeah, I
But
don't
he
think
is.
Brendan's going to be casting any spells that
No.
that aren't creatures, are Aether Vials.
Yep. Aether Vial, as it turns out, really good against counter magic. Good against Spell Queller. Good against everything.
I kind of know what Brendan's playing because we were just hanging out for fun. Played a little practice match in the bar. I lost the game with 2 spell snares and 2 force negations in my hand.
Aether Vial be like that sometimes.
Aether Vial plus I think there was a Cavern of the Souls out there too, and I
Ugh.
was just like, oh
Oh,
god.
okay. Yeah, I see the cavern. So, is that a once upon a time? Oh, I'm so excited
Yes.
for this. See, I'm glad you played against it because I'm sitting here going, I don't have any idea what's happening. So here's
Oh,
a
I guess
dumping ground.
we're on Jund. We're on Jund
Yes.
goblins.
I did see some green in his sideboard, and we would need green for his generous friend.
Frog Tosser Banneret.
Which makes your goblins cost 1 less.
That's right. Cool. And pass to you.
All right, here's Supreme Phantom. Gonna make a 3/3 get in there.
I wonder if Brendan's gonna combo off.
What do we have in play right now?
It all of Brendan's goblin spells are going to cost 1 generic colorless less to cast.
Those are always a little bit frightening. Anytime you see a cost reducer between Storm, some of those artifact cost reducers, usually something terrible is about to happen to you.
Yeah, we'll activate. Put in Crater Maker.
Here's Goblin Crater Maker. We can sack to shock. That's what we're gonna do. Here's our guy.
Says each other non-human creature you control gets +1/+1.
When it enters the battlefield,
Got
it's
it.
a counter.
Got
Yeah.
it.
You get +1/+1.
Each other non-human
And
creature he controls is going to get a +1/+1 counter when it ETBs. I'm sure this pairs with the Persist Goblin? Future
Yeah.
Goblin? There we go. Figure it out. Then if we have a sack outlet for some kind of value,
Skirk Prospector generates infinite mana in that
Yep.
way.
I was going to say that's one. I don't know if he has others.
A Ravenous Redcap is another persist goblin that does 2 damage to any target when it ETBs. So
GG.
yeah. And a lot of times, if you generate infinite mana, you can like matron and then go get Redcap. So
Seems very good. All right, Deputy Detention seems like a good answer here. possible that Brendan just had the combo in hand, but this is going to be a piece of disruption, as Spirits is known to have.
Yes. Yeah, you've fetched once and you've canopied once.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, Goblin is not going to get countered by Mausoleum Wanderer. Turns out, probably 0 targets for that Mausoleum Wanderer in Brendan's deck. Skirk Prospector. Looks like we were close. We still need the Persist Goblin. We have a Sack Outlet. We don't have the Generous Friend anymore. Here's Skirk Prospector. We've got a Horizon Land from Nick. Couple of redraws on the table. Brandon gonna fall to 9 off the attack with the Supreme Phantom.
And Vials stand at 3. That smells like a collected company to me.
Yeah, it does. I think that's what. Yep. Here we go. Do we use any app for the remote control life? So we used to do it by hand, just listening to the table mic and adjusting the life totals, which is why we had some inaccuracy. But we have recently added, thanks to your support, a life total tracker that the players can use. And so now they are much more accurately telling us what their life total is.
Yep.
So that collected company, not everything you wanted here.
Nope, that's a rattle chance.
Hello, Rattle Chains. You are in.
So we use Stream Decks here. We got a couple, one for the booth, one for out there, and then we had some nifty programming for the one that's out in the player area for life totals. And we use vMix for our programming.
I took one off this.
Drog Skull Captain. Rude. Here we go.
I'm gonna hit you for
It's getting pretty aggressive.
so 5 total.
Coming in for 5. Brendan needs an answer right now. So, as typical of the Spirits deck, it puts on pressure, but not super fast pressure. But it has just enough disruption usually when it's working to get there.
Oh,
Do we have it? There's one piece. We have Sack Outlet.
we have 2 pieces. Oh, wait,
Yeah, we have
yeah,
Sack
we,
Outlet. We have Generous.
we need persist.
Can we
persist,
can you
dude.
remind me the name of Generous Friend? I just keep calling
I
him
can't
Generous
remember
Friend.
the
Chat,
name of
help me
Generous
out.
Friend too.
Was that 6 damage total? Supreme Phantom, Drog Skull Captain 2. Yeah, that was actually. That should have been 6, I believe. Unless the Drog Skull Captain came second, maybe it doesn't make sense. Here's Ringleader.
The ringleader.
What does this one do?
Look at the top 4 cards, and then
Got
any goblins go into my hand.
Got it.
I th-
Deal with top 4.
Oh.
Do we have.
Yep, we got it.
Can we.
Yep.
Okay.
We got Murderous Redcap hanging out
Right,
there.
but
We've
can
got
we
a sack
cast it?
outlet.
We
We
have,
have
oh,
a
we
vial
Murderous
on
Red
3.
Cap, Murderous Red Cap with the vial on 3. That does it.
And
Wow.
there's not going to be path for interaction because we just have a waterlogged grove up.
Nope.
Is that it or another creature?
So.
Yeah. So I'm going to.
Take Murderous Red Cap?
Well, you get all of them.
Oh,
What a
excuse
deal.
me. Excuse me. I have never played, in fact, with the Goblin Ringleader. It's my fault. Oh, you're right. Red Cap is 4.
We can cast it with the Skirt Prospectors, maybe.
Ooh, we
No?
could just cast the Persist Goblin, make infinite mana, cast
Yeah.
the Red Cap. I think we're good.
Yeah, so you sack 1
You sack. You have a land. You sack.
a Skirt Prospector
Skirt
to
Prospector,
itself,
yeah.
play
It's actually
Future
that
Goblin.
Attack for 6 suddenly mattered because of that fetch, but I think he's good either way because he could have sacked both goblins.
Sacrifice a skirt for prospector to make a red.
Sure.
Persist trigger.
Yeah.
+1/+1 counter.
Trying to make sure there was another way to do this
Yeah.
before I
Make
get.
1,000 mana.
Yeah.
Play Murderous Red Cap.
Do it. Same thing.
Same thing.
Okay, I'm a little concerned here. So he needed the black to cast the Putrid Goblin. If that was an attack for 6, I don't think that actually works that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm unsure if maybe there was a life total adjustment earlier that they just kind of
Yeah.
winged it there. We'd have to rewatch that to make sure that the life totals are accurate, but that's kind of on our players right now. So
It is. We,
Yeah, so I can kill it.
yeah, I think they said swing for 5, so I'm a little worried that should have been different.
well, At this point, we can't really do
Can't do
anything
anything
about
about
that.
it right now. If Brendan has a basic swamp in his deck, then I think it doesn't matter. But I am not. Yeah, they did say swing for 5. I'm not. Well, we'll see. Yeah, it was because it was a blood crypt, so if they have basic swamp, it doesn't matter. Because you could have fetched basic swamp, going to 2, done the same thing. Okay, Goblin
Sideboards.
Chain Whirler.
What do we have?
Interesting pick. Let's
did you-
take a look. We're going to take another think about that Goblin Chain Whirler due to the fact that Lords make it pretty mopey.
Oh, so I bet Nick Bant Spirits. What are we sideboarding in? You have 4 paths in the main deck, I assume.
Sorry, I have this. What we are looking at for Nick is a worship, a remorseful cleric, 2 remorseful clerics, a path, a celestial purge, 2 Knight of Autumn, 2 force of negation, 2 collector roof, an eidolon of rhetoric, and 3 Thalia guardian of Thraben. I'm murder shard caps any target.
Yes.
All right, so less into worship then, unless you can Droxkull lock him, but that's a lot of pieces.
I like Path and the Remorseful Clerics.
Yeah,
It's a-
and I mean purge. Why not? It's pretty free. Not sure about the rest of this. So let's see what we got in the Goblin sideboard. We have Collector Youth, Chain Whirler, 2 Collective Brutalities, 2 Relic, 3 Alpine Moon, 2 Phyrexian Revoker, a Chalice of the Void, 2 Thoughtseize, and an Earwig Squad, which I'm going to need some reminder.
I think Earwig Squad is like takes a card. We're gonna have to look that one up.
This is tech. This is new and it's sweet. The Fetcher's Voided Foothills. Yeah. Hey, Nuglo. It's good to see you. So that game 1 was a little bit... yeah. Hopefully they'll rewatch this later and be able to see what went on.
Or
So
hopefully they won't rewatch it and then they'll never know.
I don't know which is the better outcome. I hope I counted it wrong. Earwig Squad enters the battlefield if its prowl class was played. Oh, so it's like a cranial extraction goblin.
Oh, it seems pretty sweet.
That seems fair. I'm not sure you want it in this matchup at all. I don't think there's any specific card you're trying to take.
It seems like a hedge against ad nauseum or.
Right, but I don't think it's the spirits.
Oh no, definitely not.
All right, both our players here getting ready for game 2.
I'll keep 2.
Let's go breeding pool tap.
Nick gonna start us off with a tapped breeding pool. It is beautiful with that watermark. Once upon a time there was a.
This is going to be pretty challenging for spirits unless they have a really fast start. And tapped breeding pool, I don't think is where you want to be. You kind of want a 1-drop. And yeah, Goblin Ringleader gets a bunch of cards. Brendan's going to out card advantage Nick.
I see an Ether Vial and a Generous Friend already. The green portion is for the card we still can't name.
It's
It's our
the friendly
Eldraine.
goblin that doesn't like humans but likes all the other tribes.
Ferngully or whatever her name is. It is the Eldraine uncommon, 1 green-red. Whenever a non-human creature enters the battlefield under your control, it gets a +1/+1 counter.
I can't believe no one's chimed in
No
with
one's
this.
chimed in.
Yeah.
We're calling it Generous Friend. I should probably look this up. I'm such a professional.
Oh, and Settled Mariner is pretty sweet.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. We're all goblins.
But I guess it doesn't really matter if you make infinite mana, right?
No. I'm not going to be able to find
Grumgully. There we go.
Grumgully, thank you. Ferngully, yep. I thought we were getting into some Tim Curry nonsense here. Well, okay, that guy is now voiced by Tim Curry in my head, and I want to thank chat for that. It's stuck forever. Ether Vial, Skirk Prospector. Let's piece it together. So we're holding up Spell Queller mana. Should that be relevant?
Well, apparently I can't spell Grumgully.
Grumgully. G-R-U-M? The last rainforest. Yeah. Grumgully the Generous.
Oh, there we go.
Let's put him up there. That is some art.
That's like the kind of goblin you want to meet. I feel. Yeah.
I would debate you on that one. I mean, this is like, I don't know. I don't think I'm in my right mind if I encounter this goblin. Something.
I'm definitely eating what he's giving me. Is all I'm saying.
I mean, I was gonna go that exact direction. This is a family show, but those look very delicious mushrooms.
We have a mature content warning.
Oh, we do?
We do. Yeah.
Sweet. Now we can say weirder things. Here's a Skirk Prospector just gonna get in for one here. Good old fair battle. See if we can get less fair. Goblin Matron. That's going to be a no.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think it's actually definitely heads up here to counter the Goblin Matron that did not go through the Ether Vial, because whatever it gets can go through the Ether Vial.
Yeah. Okay. Pass to you.
yeah, that was pretty. I think maybe heads up of both players. Brendan being like, you know what, you can block my thing for free with the Spell Queller because I'd rather resolve this Matron, and Nick just being like, I'll take one.
Yeah, you never make that block. You never, I don't think you ever, with open mana like that, are going to Spell Queller to block a Skirk Prospector.
Well, thanks. I wouldn't, but I
Well,
appreciate the confidence and.
But I think you never make that block, and therefore you always make the attack.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of things where if you know that the block is terrible to do, and Nick, correctly identifying that, you always make the attack because it's free.
Unless your opponent looks you like deep into your eyes and reads your soul.
I mean, that's a strategy. It goes a long way, I hear. You just look at your opponent and
With
stare
raised
them
eyebrows.
down
Oh, are we fetching? We're not fetching? We're thinking about it. Nope, we're activating.
Will Portland Paper be coming any Frontier events? If
No.
only we knew what Frontier was.
Well, Frontier is a format that's big in Japan, apparently. It is.
What?
Frontier is a format that was big in Japan. It was like sort of what Pioneer is, but you had it cut off at, I think it started at Origins.
The more I know. Are we covering Pioneer? We're not sure yet. Okay, here's another Goblin Matron. We're going to respond with a collected company, see what we find. Things I think around shops in the area are still settling on their Pioneer days. So we're going to wait until they start playing.
I'm so going to dress up like Pioneer Days for my first Pioneer event.
Oh, please. Please do. Oh, we found another Spell Queller. Collected company. So great. So it looks like we do see that Remorseful Cleric here, too.
Actually, Frontier, yeah, you're right. It started with cons, and there's a fair amount of data on the internet out there because it was actually big in Japan, and there's a lot of, like, Harira was doing events, and you can kind of look up deck list, and it sort of gives some clues into what Pioneer can look like, except it has fetch lands, so that makes everything a little bit
Completely
awkward.
different. I brewed my first Pioneer list, or I at least sketched it out. I haven't really worked on it. But when I sketched it out, I went to go build the land base, and I just what am I doing? It was horrible. I'm going to take like 80 damage off that stupid land base.
Yeah.
Oh.
Here's Fern Gully.
Okay, we can probably get Grumgully off the screen now. He's been hanging out there for a while.
I can't stare at him any longer. His eyes are facing two different directions. I feel like I've already had some of those mushrooms. This is pretty imposing from Nick. Brendan's very low on life total, so if he can't pull out something pretty miraculous, he has a couple cards in hand, so we're going to need a couple combo pieces ASAP. See if this is a good draw step. We're ticking up to 4. That's enough to get the Murderous Redcap going.
That is
That's
always
another Ether Vial.
You can always draw a ringleader.
You got me.
Late game for a while, no good.
Cool, next game.
Yep, next game.
So here we're gonna go to a game 3. Whether or not that is. I want to see that basic swap.
Smoke Weller. Smoke Weller.
Calling some spells.
So
Deciding against the Goblin Chain Whirler here.
going back to like what Chad was talking about with Pioneer and what you were talking about with the mana base, I think that is really interesting how it makes. I feel if you've played Eternal formats like Legacy or Modern, there's ways the mana bases are constructed that are just because it's been around for so long, you know what the optimal like mix of fetches, what color fetches, shocks, etc. I think it's really cool that there's not an obvious like optimal mana base for whatever color combo you're playing with.
Do you feel confident in your Pioneer mana base building?
Well, I'm playing Grixis colors, and all the check lands check on all the shock lands, so you can play all shock lands and check lands, and then you'll never have to worry about your lands coming to play untapped. So.
That's pretty much what I did. I'm playing Jeskai.
Okay.
So if you ever want to look at my maximum greed and try to.
I
smooth
love
it out
mana
for me.
bases. I spend a lot of time in Magic in general thinking about them.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I need to pick your brain because
The one that lets you like
I'm just trying to play
cards. I don't remember the number.
Ringleader.
dumb spells and artifacts because that's what I do.
Oh yeah. Well, usually artifacts don't require colored mana. Sometimes they do though.
No, my deck is actually pretty heavily colored. I'll admit it. I'm just building Jeskai Ascendancy Emery because I want to play Emery. But trying to do it in a
Are you playing you're playing Jeskai, so you're not playing Sylvan Awakening.
no.
Have you seen that deck?
No, I
Sylvan
haven't.
Awakening, 2 and a green. All your lands become indestructible 2/2s. So then they'll tap on all the Ascendancy triggers.
Okay.
You can
and
play
then
Treasure Cruise.
Big and fat.
You just make
do the thing.
enormous lands.
Maybe we should just be doing that. Well, no. Then you're 4-color. If we wanted to talk about mana bases.
Yeah, it just I think it just splashes green for the Sylvan
the Sylvan
Awakening.
Well, the thing is, if you're going to just splash green for the Sylvan Ascendancy, why don't you use it for other things? Like, you could probably set that deck up with Once Upon a Time to help fix your mana or grab Emery. You could set the deck up with... Traverse might be a little off. I don't think you're looking for
I think it
Traverse.
does. It plays Traverse and Sylvan Awakening as the 2 cards, and then it uses the or not Traverse. It plays the Tune with the Aether
Okay.
and Sylvan Awakening, and it has the energy like land theme there.
Why did you have to go bring up Oko, chat? We're going to have to talk. We'll have a talk. Let us know if you want a mid-round match at the end of this one, or if you would rather just sit and have a little conversation about a certain
Story time.
individual. We never started the clock.
I know, that's my fault.
Once Upon a Time, Cavern of Souls, Goblin, Ether, Vial. Spill the tea. That's 1 vote for tea. Vote tea or mid-round match.
There you go.
October. Yeah, I have some opinions about that Planeswalker. You
Yeah,
want mid-round? Okay, we have 1 and 1. Okay, we've got 2 votes for mid-round, so we'll grab a mid-round if we can.
I'm just waiting for no Covember, hopefully after some ban list announcements.
Please. I know I'll be oppressing the format as much as I can, but I won't do it gleefully. We're going to fetch, guard that life total a little bit. A little easier with an Ether Vial and a Cavern.
Wonder how our producer Ian's doing out there.
Well, he won his first round.
Oh, maybe if he wins this one, we can get his sweet brew.
Yeah, we're not stacking it, but if he earns his way up there. Here's a Persist Goblin. I mean, Future Goblin. Are we doing audio only amulet matches? You need more amulet. There is some amulet out there. He was 1-0. So what we want to know, ASMR audio only amulet. I think I could probably do that for you. Like, should I record that? Let me know. We do have at least 1 amulet player who is 1-0 going into this round. Let us know if you would rather see amulet or Karnza. And then depending on if they won, we might put one up. So end step, we're going to bring in a Skirk Prospector. Unsettled Mariner here again. Not completely sure he's super duper relevant. Though the one thing Unsettled Mariner does, infinite mana, you can still red cap him to death. No, not Karn and Urza. Karnza. Karn Panza. It is an artifact punishing red-green deck from our very own producer, Ian Lunger.
I feel like I wouldn't write off it, Carnage Tyrant not being in the deck.
I have no idea what's in the deck other than
Yeah.
Karn the Great Creator and a bunch of
I think-
ancient grudges.
I think we're playing a lot of pillages as well. And Blood Moons.
Yeah. You know, I really feel like that deck puts the grudge in Ancient Grudge. So Brendan, he's got some pieces. Just 2 Skirk Prospectors is a little redundant here. Nick, what is he working with? Maybe just holding up Spell Queller is a little frightening in the face of that Ether Vial. I think without much pressure, Brendan can afford to skirt everything. Cavern of Soul is ineffective, but Ether Vial just fine. You want to see lands and graveyards. You want the land bloodbath.
I do love some land destruction.
We've got a serious split here on Amulet Titan versus Karnza.
No, we're gonna cast something into Spell Queller.
Sacrifice
We're maybe not
these guys for a red.
gonna do that.
Play a ringleader.
Here's Goblin Ringleader.
Yeah, you Spell Queller
I
that.
think that is not gonna resolve.
Oh.
Oh, Spell Queller not present. What's Nick's got going on in his
Maybe
hand?
a path? Maybe a
Ooh.
path on a bunch of 3-drops?
That makes sense.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Well, sometimes you swing and you whiff.
yeah.
I do feel like that's kind of fair because Nick had a really, really poor collected company in game 1.
Yeah, it's balancing out. 1 Rattle Chains,
It goes
1.
right. Thank you. Yes.
What is that Goblin Banner? What?
Ringleader?
No, the
Uh,
one he picked up. I don't
Oh,
recognize it.
I missed the one he picked up too.
It's the black one. It's the cost reducer.
Yes. I don't know. I don't know what they're called. I
Here
know
we
what,
go again.
I know what they do. I'm like, that's the one that has persist. That's the one that makes your stuff cost less.
Same. What's in a name? We've got a Misty Rainforest. We're gonna snap it. What are we getting? What are we getting?
Well, presumably that means Nick wants to cast a spell.
For 4 on his turn is interesting to me.
I'm wondering if we're just holding up a Path to Exile and we have a lot of 3-drops in our hand,
That would
maybe?
make sense. Frog Tosser Banneret. I knew there was a Banneret involved. I was unaware that frogs are being tossed.
Oh, I love goblin names.
I know. They're so good. Alright. Here's another Unsettled Mariner. Pass it back.
You're gonna have to make real infinite mana to get around those.
Uh-oh. I believe we have infinite mana now. What are we doing with infinite mana? Uh-oh. Okay, we don't have infinite mana. Grum Gully is in exile. Frog Tosser Banneret. He's like a goblin barrel. So we're gonna have to find another Grum Gully to pull this off.
Is there a frog in that artwork?
I
It looks like the
feel
goblin's being
a little
tossed.
let down. I like that he's got, what is that, an eyeball attached to his ear? Or am I just a... I don't know what he's dragging behind him, but it doesn't look like a frog. Oh, there's the frog. Right at the bottom.
Yeah.
He's attached to a string.
I guess he goes along with the frog. Who
Sure.
knows?
I mean, the frog's on a sling. It's more of a, like a...
Nunchucks?
No.
Words are not our strong point
No,
tonight,
this
but
is
Urchin
n-
is doing some really nice charades in the booth right now.
Not a, like, bolo.
If you all would like to see these charades
Sling.
in the
I think
future,
it's just a sling.
you can think about subscribing. Our next goal is to get a broadcaster cam, and
Yeah, no, if you want to subscribe and help us get a broadcaster cam, you can see me gesticulating when I can't come up with the word that I need for this particular form of weaponry.
Quick combat.
There's a cool axe behind us too. Just saying.
You can see the sweet axe. So Goblin Ringleader gonna get in. When you can't combo, go fair plan. I'm not sure I like this Goblin's deck's fair plan quite as much as some other decks.
No, yeah, they're all like pretty little guys. I think they're mostly dudes. Maybe.
Unsure of Goblin's society's relationship to gender exactly,
Yeah.
but yeah, this is a thinker. You might expect this to be fast, but it's not an aggressive Goblin deck. It's a combo Goblin deck.
Yeah, the combo goblins that you have tutors with Goblin Matron, and then you have just like value generation with Goblin Ringleader that then can find you your matrons, and it's similar to Legacy Goblins. You don't quite have the resource denial aspect of the deck without having like Wasteland and Rishadenport, but I would say it's more similar to that than it is when we think about like 8-whack or something.
All right, we're going to see a Deputy Detention targeting Skirk Prospector, which I think is exactly the right target here, because anything else is going to hop out of the way, which might be fine if killing it is good enough. But Skirk Prospector here going to be the take. Cuts off the sack engine for the combo. You know another one's already gone. We're going to violin a matron. We're going to go search. Perhaps
Ooh.
for a replacement prospector.
I
Which
think you get Ringleader here because you
Good
need
call.
to regas the hand.
Good call. More hits.
Yeah, you potentially have there's a window for winning with this.
Huh? Yeah, nothing else. He's the one that gets cards off the top.
Here we go.
Nick's wondering which one that is, and Brendan says it's the one that gets the cards off the top.
We've had that trouble, but not with Ringleader at least. Here he comes.
Oh,
Let's lead the ring.
huh, not a
It's like
goblin.
Collected Company.
That's a goblin.
Munitions expert. Ooh. This is the Modern Horizons card that deals damage equal to the number of goblins you control to any target or just to a creature. I believe it's any target.
This is any
on
target, so
ETB.
it's kind of an upgraded
Yeah.
Gem Palm Incinerator.
Oh yeah, Cycle Gem Palm Incinerator. Those were the days. So he could peg the deputy here and get his sack outlet back, but he doesn't have the Grum Gully even so. Oh, it's creature or planeswalker. You can't go face.
Hmm.
You can still take out the deputy if you want to.
Go ahead and Sure.
Crack that Windswept Heath. Let's get a mana. A land.
Oh, are those flying sharks? Are
Oh my
those
God,
sharks
they are
being
flying. And a
lobbed?
flying chicken. You see the chicken? Honestly, I've always been stuck on this guy's hat. I love his hat and his sword. Like, this guy has a lot of style. Also, he was a house in Limited. I don't know how much Modern Horizons draft you played, but that format was great, and he was amazing. I think he was the... Yeah, he was one of the very, very good gold uncommons. I'm trying to remember. There was like one that was better. I can't remember which one. Supreme Phantom. Yikes. That's just abruptly plus 4 damage.
Yep.
Come through for 3. Brendan, though, still at a very high life total. Hasn't received a lot of pressure.
You got one card for Nick? Is that right? I bet it's a good one. I imagine Nick's holding on to it. I would assume he's holding on to like a Path to Exile.
Here's Munitions Expert. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Gonna take the Supreme Phantom. Cut off that damage source.
That's a lot of goblins.
It is. So one thing I feel like this deck is having trouble with is generating card advantage in the late game.
Yeah, we did have some pretty bad whiffs off the Ringleader.
Oh, sure. I guess Ringleader is your way to dig in the late game, but if it had... I don't know what you want here. I don't know if Horizon lands are going to be enough, but some way to generate card advantage. After you've ended up in this position where you've dumped your hand, you've gone through Ether Vial, you just don't have a lot going on.
4 mana is tapped because of the 2 Unsettled Mariners. They stack onto each other. And so 2 mana was spent to cast, and then Unsettled Mariner is any like ability. So
Yep, 2 Unsettled Mariner triggers. Triggered and paid for.
well, that's a redraw.
Yep, speaking of redraws. Mini Frost Titan, he's just a little popsicle.
Maybe that's why there's only 40-something people here tonight. It's cold. It's very cold outside.
It is cold, you know?
It's cold, and there's supposed to be like 50-mile-per-hour wind gust.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Ugh. This is your Portland interest story.
Okay, go 14.
Brendan gonna take 2 from this attack, go to 14. Nick chipping away ever so slowly. That's another land. Ugh.
Cavern.
No goblins will be countered this day.
We got some thinking going on here.
I don't know what that last card is. Do you know what the last card is?
Oh, let's update her. It's now that the players are doing their own life totals, I've gotten a little slack on updating the match scores here.
Munitions expert. Let's pick a target. Take deputy. We have mana. But what else do we have?
Go combat. Yeah.
We're missing a friend. Oh, we're just
We're going for it. It's time. It's time, baby. To swing
some
with 2 ring leaders.
tutus.
What say you?
4? After 4.
Yeah, they're kind of expendable. You don't.
Yeah.
They provide the value when they come into play, and then they're just 2 power attackers.
They've got it up front. Many goblin bros. I think we're just trying to get Nick low enough that we can alpha here with a bunch of dorks.
Yeah, Nick's not really, or Brendan's not playing any lords, I don't think, in the list.
No,
So
that wouldn't make sense for the combo-oriented list.
I could
um,
see maybe playing 1 lord that you could search up with matron, so that if you're in a situation like this, that matron's a live draw for a lethal attack. But
Oh, I
then,
don't hate that.
yeah. But
Yeah, I think Goblin War Chief makes a lot of sense there. I don't hate that idea at all.
Go combat.
Rrr.
maybe trying to bait out a collected company here.
Yep, the ring is led.
We'll block.
We're gonna jump it.
Block one of them.
Oh, we're gonna kill 1, take 2.
Oh, wow.
And
You'll have to do
So we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've got 10 damage next turn, but 2 blockers. So not quite lethal if nothing else changes, but Spirits is drawing a lot of lands here.
uh,
And I believe he's cracked he only had the 1 canopy, and that has been since pitched for a new card. So he did have a basic swamp in the deck. I have felt tense since game 1.
yeah, I just, you know, I've let go.
I haven't. That's a pretty swamp.
Tempest, is that? I can't quite see.
I'm not sure. Might be. It's good looking.
So Nick's probably not holding on to a good card.
Yeah,
because
alright.
there's been some chumps.
Yeah, we're gonna see block Putrid Goblin, block Ringleader.
Huh.
Couple of chumps gonna see a persist counter on Putrid Goblin.
I wonder if it's like something like a Settle the Wreckage that Nick's been holding on to and just trying to bait out an alpha attack here.
I mean, Nick doesn't have Settle Wreckage.
Oh, it's not in the sideboard at all?
No.
Yeah.
Let's take a look again at what he could be hanging on to. I mean, Path to Remorseful Cleric, Celestial Purge.
Oh,
I'm not seeing it.
and that's a match.
All right.
Huh.
Goblins takes it down.